So hello and welcome to the Donny Chaingang live from Studio 3 at Full Speed Events. We are just in the process of constructing this little beastie, or big beastie, so you are going to have to put up with a very boring green screen behind me for the evening. My name is Matt Payne, and I'm going to be bringing you all of the action from the Donny Chaingang, and we are getting ready to head out on to Watopi's roads. Once again, Russ leading us onto a route that is a part route tonight, just to make things a little bit more interesting. And looking forward to seeing how that rides out. Now, none of this would be possible without the DCG gang, the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club. So a big thank you if you've joined and donated on a regular monthly basis up till now. Thank you very much for doing so. Don't forget, we do have some of those packages running right the way through to the end of April, and they are absolutely critical. They don't pay for the studios, they don't pay for the kit. Basically, they just cover the streaming costs for us here at Full Speed Events and make sure that we can put and replace all the things that we need just to make the chain gang, because it actually does require some things that are way over and above what we normally use for broadcast. Also, of course, Russ in the mix, and Russ, of course, making sure that he has got to be able to devote the time to get all those routes planned, and of course both of us looking after everybody as well. So please, guys, if you do have the chance to donate, we'd love you to join the DCG gang, the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club, and to say thank you. There are some amazing discounts from the guys up there, from 1080, OTE, Gritty, Velaskin, Halo. Get looked after at Nonna's, put the best tires on your bike with Continental. So make sure, guys, that you get that sorted. Now, we are going to be heading out onto a cracker of a route, courtesy of Russ. So let's pop the route up onto your screen. So our route tonight, it is the magnificent 8 lap. So we do essentially what is a figure of 8. We go out around the left-hand loop first. We then go out around the right-hand loop. It's really simple, honest gov. But when we finish, most importantly, we are going to finish at the Fuego Flats Sprint, rather than rolling all the way round. So we set off, we come in to the KOM quite quickly, so people need to be on the ball here as we go up over that reverse KOM. We drop down the spiral and head out to Fuego Flats. When we hit the Fuego Flats Sprint for the first time, there'll be one full lap to go. We then come back in and round and repeat it all over again. Now, Russ is in charge of looking after everybody, and Russ will have dialed into his head that we finish at 43.9k at the Fuego Flats Rock Arch Sprint. Warm down's 1.1k, and that means that all of you, including Russ, get a chance to spin your legs out. Now, the red beacon for tonight, it is the one and only Simon Runner, aka Sean, a man who fully supports the DCG. You can see him there, all kitted up and ready to go. Simon, of course, in Gritty top there. And a big thank you to the team at Gritty. And Simon will be looking after your riders. Any riders who are not in the main group, then don't forget the red beacon is there for you. But please, please, please communicate if you're watching this live. Communicate with your red beacon. Really, really important. Now, the route looks quite extensive. It is. It also has a big red section, that is the KOM. Let's show you that in full, and we're going to jump off our Zwift Hacks map. Big thank you to the team at Zwift Hacks, and go across to Velo Viewer, powered by Strava. Now, the Velo Viewer map, now we kept it on the same orientation because the key points here are not necessarily the downhills, but the uphill section. So from the start, you can see we go out to the left and around over the top of that Velo Viewer graphic, over the Strava graphic. Then we start to climb up from 5k up through all the way up over onto the top of the climb. We then descend down and off the side, and we drop down from about 10k out, right the way out and round to the point where we're dropping down into those tunnels, out and around the right-hand side of this loop through Fuego Flats, down into the tunnels again, and we repeat all of that. And then we finish, it's about 15.1k into our second lap of the circuit. So a hilly ride out there today. Now, the riders are lined up and ready. And as you can see, just down on the screen alongside it, you can see that the beacons are getting lined up. You can see down there we've got our yellow beacon and our red beacon. They are absolutely key. So please, guys, remember, make sure you can keep your eye on there. Don't forget, of course, if you are joining the Chaingang for the first time, let us know. Tell everybody, make sure we can look after you. Really important that we give you a great ride. The aim is this, is to get everybody together, have a load of fun on the way through. And we've got 2 more rides. So whilst we've got a little bit of time before the countdown, a quick heads up. Tomorrow we have the WoW DCG. We've got a very special, a bit of a one-off. I'm not going to give anything away because I know Emma has been trailing our yellow and red beacons. But we have got very special yellow and red beacons tomorrow on the WoW DCG. The WoW DCG actually taking a leaf out of, or should I say, a fieldful out of Russ's route book, because we're going to be going over to the farmland loop. And then, of course, we are back into a firm favourite for our pre-Christmas, post-solstice spin. That is going to be on Thursday on the 22nd. That's going to be out and around another of one of my favourite routes, and not so much Russ's favourite routes. And that's going to be an absolute cracker. Then after Christmas, first ride back after Christmas, guess which mug gets to lead the Donny Chaingang? Yeah, that'll be me. So I better get some crash training in very, very fast, very quickly indeed. So make sure you jump on next Tuesday. Don't forget then Wednesday, we've got Emma as our, I think it's going to be our red beacon. Maybe our yellow beacon, to be honest. And then we go on from there with Russ on the route just before New Year. So loads more coming up. And I know Russ has been planning already the routes for January. So let's dive in with the gang here on the Donny Chaingang with me, Matt Payne from Full Speed Events, led by Russ Downing from Downing Cycling. And let's take a check of what our riders are up to. So riders are lined up and ready on that start line. Let's see who is going to take this out. Plenty of chat on there as well. So let's jump in with at least 2 of our riders. Excuse me. The air is full of sawdust and fiberglass at the moment. Really healthy in this studio when you're trying to breathe in deep. So let's jump in with our beacon. First of all, in with Russ. Let's see if we can get a quick check. Russ, going for the mega revs, 99, 100 revs per minute for Russ as we come out on the line. And just going to take a check. So it looks like everybody out from the line with the exception of our beacon. So just taking a look. It looks like Russ at the moment just having a little bit of a drop out. So Russ having to do a little bit of a kick up. I think he's going to be coming back in at a fair old pace. Remember, this is not our finish line. This is the finish line for the full loop. We're going to do a loop plus a part loop on the way out and around. So let's take a check on the riders. So let's take a little bit of a look. Simon running the red beacon, just patrolling at the back. And nicely under that 100 rider marker, which is absolutely key, because without going under that 100 rider marker, then it's going to be interesting. Russ's TV screen was wonky. Oh, you don't need that for the next hour. Russ would be riding on a slant. Riding on a slope would not be good. I hope it's not our TV screens that are wonky or our cameras that are wonky, because we spent a long time making sure everything's square, apart from the walls in the sound booth, which, of course, do not want to be square. They want to be anything but square to each other. So keeping an eye on our riders. Looks like everybody out pretty smoothly here. We're just keeping our eyes on the team as they head out. And looks like Mr. Williams is on board as usual. They'll go for a rather nutty donut. So here we go. Oh, someone's got a ghost. So let's jump across. Mr. Harmer's in here. Got Mr. Clark in here. Mr. Foden. Let's take a run in through. I'm liking it. Happy Christmas, DCDG. That's an entertaining moniker, but that looks like that could be Mr. Herring, to be fair. Liking the name. So let's just take a little bit of a check. Our riders should be heading and taking the right-hand turn. Certainly are. And the group at the moment just making their way around that turn. Pretty flat tonight, honest gov. Now we're just about to head down into the tunnel, just keeping an eye on Russ. 86 beats per minute for Russ at the moment, so keeping it smooth at the moment, not going over that 100, which is pretty key. So heading into our echoey glass tunnel. Always entertaining acoustics as our riders go in through here, and you can see the gang rolling its way through our yellow beacon at the front, the red beacon at the rear. Looking good at the moment as they head out across towards the volcano part of Watopia, where they're going to take a right-hand turn, drop around, miss the lava flow, hopefully. It's looking good as they go out. Don't forget, of course, December is all supported by 1080, and we are going to have a giveaway next week. Not only are we going to be doing sorts of random goodies of changing over our hosts, etc., we're also going to have, hopefully, a giveaway. Now, this is going to be very entertaining because normally yours truly is in charge of all the Tech On giveaways. That's not going to be the case because my role is going to be, over commentators will be taken by Emma. She's going to be ably assisted. We've drafted in reinforcements in the shape of Tim and Fred. They're going to be looking out over everybody. So let's see how they roll. Now, gang rolling out smoothly. Nice to see Rob Wimble in here. Good to see you again, Rob. Tracy, the Terminator 2.0. In here, Tracy, another of our exceptionally regular Donny Chaingang rows, complete with nice pair of Oakleys on the side. They're almost like a set of M-frames. Just have a really nice pair of M-frame pros. No hinges, basically, one piece. They disappeared off. Amongst a number of Oakleys I've had whipped over the years. Unfortunately, hot property for many. So the riders on the way in through the volcano at the moment, and remember, of course, tonight it is not 2 full laps of Magnificent 8, much shorter than that. So the riders out on course. You can see Tom Lindley in here, Eddie Dalglish in the gap, Phil Oliver's in here, looks like Neil Morn, Steve Cannon, Martin Davison, Mr. Barker, Sir Rodney as always. Neil from the Crosscast in here, Neil, and I just trying to get it nailed together with a rather good guest host, and good to see that our last host on the Crosscast was on flying form up at what was a very icy round of the National Trophy, almost as cold as it was up in the snow and ice of Val di Sole. I think Neil maybe has thought, if you haven't seen the pictures and videos of how cold and wet and horrible it was, just think there's a reason why you're all here riding on the turbo and not freezing yourselves off or exposing yourselves to exceptional risk of falling off and hitting the deck. Who wants to do that? You could just turbo somewhere nice and warm, or maybe not if you prefer it to be freezing cold. Personally, quite like it was a little bit warmer. Richie Woodall just rolling around the sides here. Just going to take a little bit of a check. Looks sort of like Jimmy Allen in here. Jimmy, of course, complete with beard. So Jimmy, is the beard back? That's the question. Has the beard gone? Dale Williams, nice 11.8 degrees tonight, toasty. I won't tell you how warm it is here. It's actually about 16 degrees. Been very nice today. Not even got a jumper on in the studio, which is like unheard of since all the windows are wide open. Yeah, speedy recovery to Mr. Howlett, who broke a collarbone. That is for sure another rider taking a tumble, and it's all too easy to happen. At least Harry's a young and hopefully will bounce back pretty quickly. The slightly older of us, only a little bit older, we don't bounce quite as well, so generally not a risk many of us want to take. The gang looking like it's holding together rather nicely at the moment. Some little run through the gang at the minute, just to see who's rolling around the back of the bunch here. Now this, we've got Tiff back with us again. Welcome back, Tiff. So Tiff riding well. Tiff, the one of our riders in the GB kit here today. So, rather well behaved gang out playing tonight. So the gang on the way across the causeway at the moment, just making their way, heading in towards the Italian villas at the moment. Just still working their way around this right-hand sweeping turn. They go on to the gravel, and if we take a little bit of a dive down, we should be able to see the dust starting to come up from those wheels. They said it was going to be at a point on the second lap where it's likely that all hell has been let loose by Yellow Beacon. That is Russ, but we will see, because it's quite an interesting route to choose where to let go on the way through, but looking good at the moment. Not too much dust from this altitude. Let's take a little bit of a check down at wheel height here, jumping down into the bunch at the moment as these riders make their way up, looking pretty dust free at the moment. Maybe it's something to do with it being night time, makes a nice change, or maybe it's to do with it being a nice proper rollout on the way out. Good to see you up, Mr. Nunn on Bob. Matt, you've got your work cut out. It's 1 lap to go when we hit Fuego Flats Sprint this time round. That's our finish line. So if we wind that backwards, mate, that's where your 1 lap to go should be. Please, sir. Thank you. So our riders on to the sweeping bends, on to the climb up out of Italian Village. You can see that bunch holding together nicely. And the myriad of colours making their way around. What is a nighttime scene here. Good to see a few people with the Christmas jerseys on from Zwift. A few people are showing the tradition. It looks like that gang are pretty much together. Just a little bit of a gap opening towards the rear of the bunch as they go up. Good man, Matt Nunn. Matt Nunn says he's got it. Thank you very much, sir. So right-hand turn coming up as we come in towards the Italian villas, and this means round past the fountain, up on to the climb out of town, and we're going to be heading underneath the house over the archway, then up past the waterfalls. So out past the waterfalls, out past the poplar trees, and now we start heading our way out towards the KOM in reverse. Let's drop in some stats over the top here, and as you can see, the map view coming up as well. So we're now going to come sweeping around. Basically, we're not going to drop down into towards the tunnels, so we're going to go round to the left, go up onto the reverse KOM, the first point at which we tend to find we have issues as our riders go through. But we will see how that pans out. Looking good at the moment. So it's like everybody rolling along well tonight. Might go get a coffee whilst you're all just rolling yourselves up and along. Simon keeping things under control, just near the back. Simon, of course, our red beacon. Let's have a little jump in with Simon in the red gear. So Simon riding along. Let's do a standard sign shot here. So Simon in the red and black. Nice hairstyle as well, mate, obviously. And good choice of bike there. Nice, some nice deep rooms. Very interesting. There's a selection of generally deep rooms, but not full on discs for this route. And totally understand that. So nice work. Our beacons at the back sweeping in, but now we're going to come on to the climb. So we're basically going to be heading up the hill. So Simon coming through with Richie Woodall and Mr. Foden there as well. So that's going to be Simon Foden, Simon Rudder. Fat cyclist, my target is 2 times Pidcock weight and time. That would be a target for me. Do you know how little he weighs? It's scary. So here we go, up on to the Zwift KOM in reverse. It's going to be very interesting to see who can take this. Essentially, we sweep round our right-hand bend coming up. 110 kilos and 44 minutes is his aim. It's also 12 degrees in Faversham. That's very nice over there as well. And let's take a little bit of a check on our riders. Yeah, all looking good as they come up this section. Nobody getting dropped too much off the back of the pace. If we drop down alongside our riders, you can see, though, that gradient currently at 5% is going to change, and it changes as we make our way in towards that right-hand turn. We're going to come out onto the side here of Simon as we go into this gradient. It kicks up around this right-hand turn, 6% and climbing 7%. And Simon's going to be on the inside as well. So you can see now heading up into double figures, hitting 10% and still climbing as we go up on to the steep section. A little bit bumpy on the inside actually as well, and that's something you can feel on certain of the turbo trainers. Interesting to see that Gareth Mason has chosen a disc wheel today. Obviously confident of being in at the finish here. Greg Booker, I think, has done the same. Just going to take a quick check on Gregor's disc. No, he's gone on to a Tron bike. Yeah, that could be a very smart move today. So our riders are coming up onto this part away step, but we have still got plenty of time to go up on to the next section. So he levels off here. We then kick again, and then it's a long drag really up and sweeping around to that archway. If you look top right hand side of your screen, you can just see the very top of the screen, that arch over the top of the road. That is the KOM summit. We've got to basically do a long leg, a left leg, and then a left leg once again. So just taking a little bit of run through this group. Really, pretty compact. Looks like Jeff says so, just being distanced a little bit. You're right there, Jeff. Jeff in that Continental jersey, one of our key supporters, of course. So Continental, courtesy of Shelley and Co, looking after our riders on the way up here, and just starting to wind back in. They're going to be in danger, I think, of picking up Mr. Foden on the way through. But this is our chasing red beacon at the moment. So let's follow our two chasers. They make their way up. You can see the volcano in the background. Not all that long when we're going all the way around the side there. But at the moment, making our way up, we're then going to go screaming back down the descent around that turn. So at the very top of this climb, really going to be critical to get everybody together. If Jeff and Simon are not on the wheels by the time we go over that KOM, they're not going to get on by the end of the ride. It's a pretty straightforward equation, this one. If you're not on at the top of this climb, you will not be on. So if there is a gap between you and the bunch, you need to push on now to get onto the wheels before you reach the top of the climb. So you need to be on the wheels. Anyone who's distanced over the top of this, because of the screaming nature of the descent, followed then by a fast section down into the tunnels, you need to get yourselves on before you get to the descent and get in that group. A Gruppo Compacto is what we're looking for as you go over the top. So it looks like Jeff and Simon just working to get back into this group. They've got 80 Dalglish just sitting at the back of the pack, I think, at the moment. So just getting themselves back to this group. So Simon and Jeff, you're going to need to push big style. Going to be really, really key. Once we go over the top and this gap opens, you're going to find yourselves in trouble. Yeah, you do need to put a quick dig in here, gents. We'll get ourselves back through the Christmas tree lights. Very festive. As we make our way up on to the top, so underneath the top of the climb we go. And this is where things get very, very interesting. So the climb, the descent has started. And if we just take a look back from our riders here, looks like Grey Booker just dropping off the back of this group. Dangerous territory that to do that, but hopefully going to give the guys a little bit of a chance. A little bit of a drop out and jump back in again there for Simon Foden. You can see just jumping in with Nelson at the moment. So Martin Nelson from out of the saddle just on this descent. Just following these guys on the way down. So our red beacon still left, chasing the main bunch, taking that right-hand turn. You need a little bit of control here, so you can just see the yellow beacons group dropping down through the section, just riding up above them in that helicopter at the moment. At the moment, this is the chasing group. Greg Booker at the moment, so well and truly distance. Greg needs to really get some speed up. He should get himself back in. Greg, one of our fast riders. Actually, but pretty much all the family are really fast riders. Fiona Renault's been out and mountain biking, so I think everybody's looking to see if Greg's going to burn a match or two on the way through, but you can just see there's a trail of breadcrumbs for him to follow. They are breadcrumbs because they are a time-limited offer, and most riders don't want to hang out of the back of the group for too long without making the way back in. 16 seconds for Greg at the moment. So we're going to get some assistance on the way through. Not sure Greg needs any assistance, but we'll see. So over the top goes Greg. Simon's going to have to put a big kick in. Interesting to see that we've got Izzy Sorry on board again. Good to see Izzy. Izzy, one of our late joiner, regular on the WoW DCG as well. Very fast rider. Great to see that we've got Izzy on board. I know we've got a number of our riders in here. Looks like Sarah Luthwaite in here as well. Another of our really quick riders are riding in for the Synergy squad. And Sarah regularly up at the front of the pack. Be interested to see if Sarah's in here, because this is quite an interesting route which really has something for every rider. So it's going to be really interesting to see how people get on with it when they're out and riding this time round. So another of our riders in here. So good to see Claire Richardson now in that Aeonian squad colours here. Another rider joining that all-conquering squad. So another rider joining the squad of Emma, the control of all things WoW DCG. So it looks like going to be an interesting race at the front from our women's point of view as well today, because we've got Claire Richardson and we've got Izzy Torrey on board. We've also got Sarah Luthwaite. We've got the Terminator herself, Tracy, in there. We've got Tiff on board as well. Going to be very, very interesting to see how that pans out, particularly as we're coming in towards the little bit of a break in the ZRL season. Meanwhile, looks like pretty much everybody back together again. So just jumping up above the riders on our helicopter shot. And looks like Mr. Booker, Mr. Allen and co. all on board. Which is what we want to see as the riders make their way in through the desert at the moment. So heading around, and remember this is the run into the finish. So as you come down off that climb, this is the run that takes you in past the pens and then down in towards the sprint at Fuego Flats. And that Fuego Flats sprint the finish when we come in and through. So Mr. Mason, this could be a fun course, enough time for the heavies. He thinks, yep. I think it's one of those courses that a pack, if a group of bigger riders start motoring on the way down that descent, they've actually got a chance of catching the climbers back. It has produced some good chases. It is a route that I've wanted to use for a long time. When we first used it with this finish, it did confuse a number of riders, so be prepared if you're sitting on the wheels to jump over riders, because there's going to be a number of riders who may not be aware of where the finish is. Remember, it's absolutely key to remember where everybody is going to finish. That is, of course, at Fuego Flats at the sprint line. And we're not all that far out. Remember, of course, coming from this direction, that sprint is a 500-metre sprint. It's a long 500-metre sprint. And that is going to test our riders as they come in and round. So we come in towards our turn. We'll be taking a right-hand turn at the T-junction. I'm loving the speculation about what's going to be the handiest thing to have, what power-ups are being saved. Well, real tricky one that, because the anvil's going to really help you on the downhill. However, you've got a long flat section. If you think you're going to be in, there's a chance at the finish. May well be Ghost, etc. So Simon, run it. The winter solstice starts tomorrow. The winter solstice is indeed tomorrow. After that, the lights get lighter. The day to celebrate the middle of winter. Ancient festival that dates back to prehistory. They or may not have been hijacked by other people on the way through. Far be it for me to say. So here we go. This is the run in to the finish. I think there's going to be a lot of people working out what they need on the run in. As they come in towards that rock arch. We're going to get a rider's viewpoint. Just riding in with Mr. Radcliffe here as we come in towards the arch. There we go. That's done. Dress rehearsal done and dusted for our riders to go through that. Absolutely key that they keep a check on that as they go in and through. So, thank you very much to Mr. Dunn. We are indeed finishing out that arch at one lap's time. And it's like a few people just distanced off. Not quite sure what happened to Russ there. Disappeared off the back of the group. He's on his way back. He's probably coming back at pace, if I know Russ. Oh. Simon, I'm going to light a fire on my patio and dance around it anti-clockwise. And summing up the got a bib shorts. If only. It's good to see Mr. Glynn back in with us. So Terry just holding his station just near the back of that group of riders as the red and yellow beacons start to make their way back in towards pack. Hopefully everybody's warmed up now. Got a few K underneath the wheels for most of the riders on the way around. Let's jump in with somebody who's been in from the go. So 30 minutes done, 16K covered for Mr. Lindley. So Tom rolling his way up and along. At the moment, everybody looking good. Nobody looking to be in too much trouble. No, riders keeping it smooth there, keeping it certainly in the race today, sunshine. Hopefully got the Oakleys on, tight on. I remember, of course, that 3 members of the Donny Chaingang Supporters Club, the DCG gang, will indeed be getting themselves 3 sets between them. So 1 set each of custom Oakleys in whatever style and with whatever writing on it they want. So if you want to put "I love the bear," feel free. If you want to put on there the DCGs for me, take your pick. If you want to put on there Zwift or Go, it's fine. If you just want to put on something even cooler, then help yourselves, if there is such a thing. But don't forget, 3 pairs of full custom going out to 3 different members of the gang. It's 1 rider, 1 prize, and it's rather good odds this month. Due to slightly more limited numbers of people joining this month, it means that the odds are pretty good for those people who've joined through in either monthly in December or as one of our fantastic few who joined at the start of the season right the way through the full season. So one rider who looks to be just distanced a little bit, looks like it's going to be Kieran, who's just on his way back to the group. After having off the back of the bunch, riding on a Tron bike tonight, so clearly means business, not jumping on a mountain bike tonight. So into the Oasis we go. Gang back together once again, and pretty much everybody all holding station. Let's just pulling the pace up just a little bit up onto the front here. Let's get that drone camera rolling. The pack looking good at the moment. And Simon holding it as we come in past the waterfall here. As you can see, the riders looking good. Did anybody panic when Russ put a dig in? I hope not. We're at 32 minutes. It's a long way out. We're a long way from the finish. We're only 18k into the route. And don't forget, it is a long, long way into the finish. As we roll through, let's just remind you of our beacons. It's our yellow beacon, Russ Downing. And remember, this route, we've already gone out round that volcano. We've made our way up on to the climb in the red section where the blue dot is just rolling around, dropping down the spiral. We're now into the distance. We just come around the far right hand part of this circuit. is through the Oasis. And coming up, we've got the run across through the Nevada lookalike, through the edge of Titans Grove, then dropping down into the tunnels, back in past the start pens, and then we repeat it all again. And the man who will be sweeping up will be Simon Runnett on his way through, who will have a tough course to sweep on, particularly as I would imagine that the next time up that KOM it is going to be the case that riders are going to be being distanced. So let's see who is going to take it out. The riders all on the ride at the moment, and the group all together, very, very compact group of riders. Well, I'm loving the fact that lots of people are trying to work out where we're going on Thursday. If they're not a member of the DCG game, won't necessarily know where we're heading. Of course, that heads up goes out to the members of the DCG game. Part of that advantage, getting to know the distances, the routes. So let's take a little bit of a check. Mr. Finch in here. McDermott, Sharp, Main, Fodden, Coos is in here. We've got Sharp, Osmond, Ingham. Fletcher as well. Russ, of course, just patrolling the back of the group. A little bit of a gap back to the riders just rolling around the back. Jimmy Allen just being a bit bloody no mates today. Well, I can't believe that Dale Williams has never done our route that we're doing on Thursday on the DCG. Where have you been? It is one of my favourite routes to ride ever.com. It's also the route which gets me the best results. I read Beacon on Thursday. I do feel sorry for them. It's not going to be an easy job, but there you go. Mr. Mason, it's Matt and he feels sorry for you. Good luck with that. It is indeed Chris Ball, our beacon on Thursday. Sean Sharp, else the lap riders make it difficult for Matt to jump between riders. Well, yeah, it has to be said that it's going to be an entertaining one, and you will get very little run out on the way through. It has to be said. On the way through, I'm not going to be giving you very much in the way of distances. To go, you're going to be getting us jumping from rider to rider quite a lot on the way down the ride. Now look, looks like Claire Jessup back in with us once again. Claire, another of our regular riders on the gang here. So Claire in the gang, just alongside Tiff, or virtually alongside, if not quite in real life. So Chris Ball on board. Chris is going to be our beacon on Thursday. He's in here. I can't tell you who our beacons are for tomorrow. So Chris will be taking beacon duties. Got a great picture. Those of you who have watched the footage before, Chris has been on a beacon, you'll know exactly what it looks like. We're going to be having plenty of riders in there. And don't forget, if you want to have a go on, and remember, make sure that you get yourselves with our beacon and get communicating with him. So if you're going to be riding with Chris tomorrow, sorry, on Thursday, then let me know. Tomorrow I can't tell you who's going to be our beacons. Not allowed to give the game away. Going to be great fun as well, and a route that Russ instigated as well on the way through. Now, just starting to come in, so let's have a look. It is going to be 38 minutes 56 on the way through. Don't forget, of course, we're going to have Mr. Run It going to need to be in there. So thinking about to Fuego. Russ is going to put his race head on. That'll be entertaining. Should be good fun. So as we come through past the Neon, just about to take the right-hand turn on the UFO. Follow it round to the right. A little bit of the start on the way in through. Just dropping in with Gritty's Neil from the crosscast in there. Private message for Neil, I can do either time, our guest says, just so you know. Yeah, private messaging via YouTube. Okay, so the group on here, just riding in with Izzy Atari on the way through. Looking good at the moment, and heart rate's at 147, but this is where things get a little bit interesting at the back of the bunch. To see that red beacon just popping about at the back there, keeping an eye on everybody. The bunch are pretty much across the roadway at the moment. Nobody going to mad. Everyone knows still plenty of distance left to go. This drag definitely going to be very entertaining as they continue to push on through here. Don't forget, of course, still plenty of distance left because we've not even completed all of the course yet, although we are less than one full lap to go on the way around from that rock arch. It is almost a full lap left for the riders, so more distance to do than the riders have done already. So remember, the left-hand turn coming up, just drop down in towards the tunnels, and then we've got the drop down. We've got to climb up out of the tunnels, to climb up in towards the volcano, climb up the reverse KOM, drop down, and then that last frantic run in towards the edge. We're going to be coming down pretty quickly and dropping down out of those trees. Just going to take us off the helicopter shot. So it's like one less climb in there. So the trigger not being given by Russ at that climb. That was one good one for the big power guys that could have worried about the bigger sprinters. Not necessarily at home on that climb. We're now going to run down into the tunnels. So only a couple of key points to watch out for. The run out of the tunnels if you're not a climber. The run out of the tunnels, the run up out of the start line to the right-hand turn onto the glass bridge across the volcano, the climb up to the Italian villas, then the climb up the KOM. They are your trigger points to watch out for. And there's still plenty left to test our riders. We're well over 40 minutes now, 42.5 minutes of riding, 25k about to hit the kilometers covered marker. The gang still all together. Nobody's lost off the back of the group at this stage. So looking good at the moment. Let's see who can take this out. Who's going to have the power and pace? Who is going to be able to respond when that trigger is pushed. We drop down across that little dusty junction on to the smooth tarmac, and it's ho 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 has gone. It is ho 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 time. Who is going to put the pressure on? Looks like the trigger has indeed been pulled. Ho ho ho, go go go. It is time to go. So look at that, the trigger's pulled. Who has got this? What a time to do it as well. He's done it on a run into a descent. The group were all together. There's no advantage to anybody there, but we're on a downhill trigger pull. This means it's going to be frantic on the way down. Look at the amount of power-ups that are being used. I have not seen so many aero power-ups or draft power-ups being used for a long, long time. The back of that group, there were more power-ups, I think, than there were riders at the back. You can see everybody desperate to hang on to the wheels here, but it's not going to be easy. This front group are together, but you can see behind it really has started to get strung out back behind that main bunch. That was a mean place to go on the descent. And it looks like a number of riders not staying with the pace on the descent as they go down here. Simon looks like starting the bus. He's got Claire for company. And interesting to see how they go on. So Claire, one of our regular riders. Simon asking the question of Claire, does she want to go and they'll pull up to that next group. They're doing some serious watts per kilo here, 3.5 to 3 watts per kilo. So Simon no doubt got his rear view mirrors on. Key 6 is the key number for your cameras on the way through. Let's see. So Claire and Simon in conversation, getting ready to try and drag themselves to the group. This is Finch, Luthwaite, Rodney and Giard. So Simon's going to try pushing. So I'm going to keep on pushing as the saying goes. Yeah, don't drop anybody in that group. Petto, this is our next group just up in front of them. And then we're going to hit the back of the bunch. So this at the moment is group number 1. So group number 1 is our main bunch. Group 2 is the one containing John Garfort, Neil Morn, Chris Ball, going to be Mr. Ingham and Cannon. Then the next group will be Giard. This is group 3 at the moment on the road. So 3 is Giard, Finch, Sir Rodney and Sarah Luthwaite. And then group 4 at the moment is going to be our Red Beacon group. So that's going to be our 4 groups on the road at the moment. But expect that front group to shed bodies. Looks to me like we may well see one of the riders trying to get across. So Russ is saying his feet are warm. Can you wait till you take your shoe covers off? Not a chance, sunshine, that's going to happen. So Izzy Torrey just putting in a bit of a dig here. Got 15 seconds to make up to Russ. So it's certainly doable. But going to be a big ask for Izzy to get across that gap. Neil from the crosscast on the back of that group as they come up the climb. So it looks like they didn't lose anybody on the climb. That group is pretty much all together. Just going to take a little bit of a look up at the front of the pack though. Nobody off the back. Is there anybody off the front? Well, let's take a look. Dale Williams has decided to make life difficult for people, pushing on at 5 watts per kilo there. But I think he's going to be answered pretty quickly as they come up and through. So Williams leading them up that climb and just being closed down by the pack. The back of the group, well, it looks to be pretty much all together. Just going to try and take a look at the very back of this bunch. Easier said than done. Looks like Rab in here and Izzy Torrey not all that far behind. I think Mr. Wallace just in trouble at the moment. So these groups sort of forming here. Looks like Ingham, Luthwaite in there as well. They're just a little bit of distance going up. Got Sarah squeeze onto that group. You can get that one. Sarah more than capable of sitting with this bunch, getting that draft. Make the most of that bunch there. It's going to be really, really key. They're a good bunch of riders necessary, just tucking into the draft. Don't do all the work for them. Make sure you get in that pack. In front is Izzy Torrey, 5 seconds up the road. Wallace distanced by that group. Rab in trouble. It's like Chris Canham just in trouble on that little drag. Looks like Rob Wimble having to squeeze back into that pack. A group, though, being dispatched off the back here includes Tiff Fletcher. Interestingly, not what we thought we would see. As we see Santa out to the left of the riders, so you can tell it's Christmas time. There we go. Now let's take a look up on to the front. So a group dropped out of the back of the group. Now let's take a look up at the very front of this bunch, which is probably going to be easier said than done. But let's take a look and see who is winding it up on the very front. Looks like it's going to be Simon Oxenham, who's got the lead at the moment. So Simon just starting to drag strip it out. Sun's coming back the opposite direction now in the distance there. So Oxenham just being passed by Williams, who goes past him. Saw 7 watts per kilo coming out from Williams. He just started to put the pressure on again. I think this pressure being applied by Dale Williams and by Simon Oxenham is going to do some damage to some legs that are behind. Very, very mean. It's actually raining in Wartopia. So Mason going over the top there, just using an aero power up to drop in with this group. Interesting little group just started to go. If they start to push here, Mason Brown, Oliver Oxenham, Jeffries, they could do some serious damage here behind. The gap has opened up behind Oliver. Now, if these guys work together, they could really make the bunch have to put a few matches into action and light a few fuses just to try and keep themselves in the hunt. You certainly wouldn't want to let a group of this quality go clear. Looks like Matt Gilmore has decided he wants to be part of the party. Doesn't want to be left behind here. So Gilmore on a mission, 105 revs per minute. The hot rate's going upwards. You're just seeing it raise up 172, 173, 174. And it looks like Gilmore on a charge across, but I think he's in danger of just dragging the bunch up to this group in front. So Gilmore catches up with Dale Williams. He brings with him the remnants of the peloton, and it is the remnants because there are bodies now being left all over the place. So let's take a little bit of a check on the riders behind. Looks like Kustlux and McDermott just about in touch. McDermott's just being distanced, and it's Main. Glynn looks like Terminator's not working well in the pouring rain here today. So rusty parts on the old joints maybe for Terminator, not working well. It should dry out though in the Volcano. Still getting too hot now. Behind you can see Taylor Goddard faulting another group. So if you do get distance, this is the way to ride. Grab yourselves a group. Canham's got company here with Rab in as well. Wallace just got a little bit of a gap on the Bull group here. So Torrey being swept up by these riders as well. Then it's going to be Finch, and then just a little bit behind is going to be Runham and Jessup, who are continuing to push. They've got Finch actually well in their sights. It's only 6 seconds. You can see despite the pouring rain and the atrocious weather, the groups at the front continue to push, continue to distance riders, and we'll get the drone cam up, but to be honest, it's pretty horrible weather even for the drone. Never mind a helicopter shot. Helicopter shot's just going to show us cloud on the way round. So just watching Chris Gale at the moment towards the rear of this group, coming sweeping around the bend here. They're going to be dropping down. You can see the next chasing group go above these riders as they come down and underneath. So let's see how they're going. Looks like Finch about to get to join the Red Beacon group. We've gone from 4 groups to about 14 at the moment. Interesting to see a few people just dropping some anvils on the way down. So Russ just being asked if he's okay. He's about 13 metres back, 11 metres back, so may well be that it's just chasing back on again. He was Kilo just yo-yoing up and down a little bit here. He's certainly looks like just about back into this budge once again. So Russell, though he's yo-yoed up and down, he's back in with him. They've got 20 seconds at the moment. This is the chasing group, and it looks like the Terminator being left to do the work. So that chasing group number 2 at the moment at 22 seconds. And then it's going to be a further 20 seconds back to the Taylor group. So looks like finished climbing off, which has left our beacon without anyone to worry about. So clearly the power of the red beacon and Claire Jessup, but too much for the rider they were catching there. But of course, you've got to remember, everyone on different timescales. One of the great things about Chaingang, jump in and see how you're going to go, and do what you can. If you've got to do it spear early, you got to spear early. These things happen. So let's take a look with our front group. Dear Swift, please can I have Christmas? No rainy, rubbishy days where I can't put the helicopter cam up. It's really, really ropey. So just taking a little bit of a look up the road, just seeing Kieran Brown at the moment on a bit of a mission here. The question is who is going to respond. Oh, look at this, he's got Steamroller. Perfect place to deploy that as well on the way up this climb. I've seen plenty of races where it's decided on this climb. The Steamroller makes a huge, huge difference on the way through here. And you can see, I can't see any going in behind. Kieran not having to go into the red up here, but making ground on those riders as they come on the way up that climb. And that is purely down to being able to get the timing right with those power-ups. So Kieran going up there, saving a little bit of energy, I think, because we know Kieran is capable of much more. But now the riders behind have got to work 11 seconds now, the gap to the chasers behind. Bearing in mind, we know that Kieran can ride on the flat and can also ride on the climbs. He's got 11 seconds at the moment. Greg Booker is the nearest chasing rider, and I expect to see a response from Greg, destroy the group behind. And you just see it's really starting to splinter behind, but this is a decent sized group here as Jeffries goes over the top of him in that dark blue kit. You see Osmond coming up as well in the black and red. So Kieran Brown, 11 seconds now. If they leave Kieran there until he gets to the climb, Kieran has the pace to get himself right up to the top of this climb in a good position, and then try and hold them off on the descent. But it depends where this group choose to work. Currently, Kieran Brown continues to stretch this out. So Kieran with the gap, you can see where that yellow beacon is. Kieran is really just keeping the pressure on. He doesn't need to go silly crazy here because the group behind are hesitating. 17 seconds now. This is about what is Kieran able to do. Is he going to continue to push? He needs to push. I think this is the moment of truth. Kieran, go, 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 mate. This is the time because you're making ground. They're still hesitating. I've seen 3.6s, 3.2s, 1.9. They're not able to close down. So at the moment, Kieran Brown, the man on your screens, he's a rider who we know could take this. It looks like there's a panic now starting to set in behind as we're starting to see a response. It looks like Matt Gilmore has gone on the charge after Kieran Brown. He's broken clear of the group behind, but the timing not as good. It didn't have that same power on the climb. So plenty of chat. A little bit further back. 5 seconds to gap from Gilmore now. It's currently 15 seconds to Gilmore. 22 seconds back to Osman and Harmer. And I think they're going to see just who is going to be able to go for this. So Coming up onto this steeper section of climb now, this is where you can make or lose a lot of time. Let's watch the numbers on the screen for each of those individual riders. Russ now pushes out 9.6. He's at 20 seconds down. But Kieran Brown is on the steep section here at 8 watts per kilo. He's flicked it to 8.7. He's going to top this section of the climb. He's still got 13 seconds on Gilmore, 18 on Williams and Dench. So let's drop back to Gilmore. Gilmore looking smooth. Behind then, this is what is left of the peloton coming up here. It's Williams, Lindley, Booker, Dench, Mason, Oxenham. Looks like Nelson in here as well. But this is a pretty select group of riders. And the gap is at 18 seconds at the moment. We're watching Dale Williams, who's sat on Greg Booker's wheel here, or Matt Gilmore's. It's going to be Greg Booker's. So it's Booker's wheel at the moment. Booker looking to close down Kieran Brown. He's got a little bit of a gap, and you can see now Dale Williams having to respond. Starting to push. You see the flames coming out from underneath his wheels here. He gets up onto the wheels of Booker, but look at the damage that's been done behind this chasing group at the moment. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 riders strong just about, with one rider being a distance a little bit behind AD Dench, and that is going to be Harmer. So Harmer currently in 14th. So Dench at the moment, the back of this group, 12 riders versus one. The man they're after, it's Kieran Brown, who is on a bit of a mission. He attacked over the Italian village. I think he maybe would have wanted a little bit more company. He didn't get it, so he's really starting to push here. Let's see if anybody's got anything left in the tank behind to chase this down, or whether they're going to leave it for the descent and the long run to the Fuego Flats finish line. Now, I reckon Kieran needs about 35 seconds. That would be my guesstimation as he comes over the top of the climb. 35 seconds would be my guess to stay clear to the finish. Let's see if he can keep that kind of gap. He's currently sitting at 19 seconds, but behind they're starting to pull the watts per kilo up to close to that of Kieran. He's got to keep on pushing. He needs that gap as big as he can as he goes over the top. We have 12 riders together in the group. Lindley at the moment just sat on the back here. A rider who could be in the mix. Let's see how that rolls. Harmer has just been caught back there. Just about 9 seconds down on that chasing group. And that is Harmer and Foden in there. And then for the 10 seconds back, it's going to be Osmond, Dalglish, Pearson, Jimmy Allen in that group. Foray just off the back. Then it's Matt Nunn. Richie Woodall, Mr. Hutchin here, Haggard, Davidson, Barker, Clark in here. And that looks like it's Claire Richardson from the Aeonian squad, currently our leading female rider, I think, at the moment. It's going to take a little bit of a run back. Looks like Seeley just a little bit further, 17 seconds or so down. But our leaders looking very, very strong. It is Kieran Brown from Sure Pie Cycling. Over the top he goes. He's got 18 seconds. I'm not sure that is going to be enough. He's definitely done a lot of damage behind and will have whittled this group down. The question will be how much push are we going to see from Kieran on the descent, and how fast is that chasing pack going to go? Plenty of new PBs over the top here. Lindley just in front of this chase group here. That even Russ set a new PB on the way up that climb. So here we go on to the descent. This is going to be about making sure that you get that gap down if you're chasing Kieran. If you're Kieran Brown, it's about keeping that gap as long as possible. It's also about not letting any gaps go. You can see we've got a little bit of a gap opened up here. That can be closed down by this group if they're very quickly onto that as they go over the top there. Looks like Lindley just into the aero tuck at the moment. Dangerous gain that at times on this descent, because when it levels up, it detracts from the advantage to be gained from that. So at the moment it's Oliver, it's Mason, the fat cyclist, it is AD Dench who have the chase in their size, because I think Kieran Brown has lost a fair amount of time. 9 seconds left out of 18 seconds gap. And that has a tumble, and I think Kieran just again, he didn't have enough time over the top, so not working too hard on that descent to save something for the finish. Remember, Kieran Brown can sprint. So he's made everybody else do some work on the climb, and they've fractured. The first riders up to him are likely to be Mason, Dench and Oliver. They are the trio chasing. Oh, look at that. He's got another section to use his steam roller on, going over on the gravel, over on the bridge here. So timing that power up right as well. But that's not necessarily the power up you would want for when you're going to go and roll over on to the finish, and not seeing too many power-ups come from that group behind, so there's going to be something in the tank for the guys behind. So at the moment, Mason, Oliver and Dench, I think they're content knowing that he's not that far away. They've got Oxenham coming behind, leading that chasing group up, but as you can see when we use that rider viewpoint, Kieran Brown not all that far in front either. This group is going to come back together again, I think, and that means that we are going to have 13 riders in the mix. The chasers, 2 chasers, Foden and Harmer at 20 in that 20 to 30 second marker, 30 to 40 seconds about in the group of 15 or so riders. So this is the back of the group at the moment. If we watch this ride go through, we have all of the group rolling through here. Very interesting to see now what happens. They're still not up to Kieran's back wheel. So I think this group know that they can chase after him at any point. The question is, what has Kieran got left? What has the rest of the chasing group got? Kieran is not going to instigate any kind of sprint here, I think, from this position, unless he gets into those last 500 metres, in which case it's going to be every man for himself. But I think now it's a case of letting this group come up, use that group to take a little bit of rest, not get caught out as they come in and through. It'd be very easy to get caught napping. And just seen Russ respond to a little bit of a kick from Oliver. Here they come. Over the top they go. So it is going to be Russ who goes through with Jeffries and Oliver up in the lead at the moment. These are the riders up on the front of this pack. But you've got to watch out for those riders behind. I'm just going to take a little bit of a look back. I think Kieran Brown, after that effort, has been swept out of the back of the group. So that looks like it's game over for Kieran after a great effort there. Matt Gilmore is in here. Remember, Matt Gilmore can put out a seriously high watts per kilo. Watts per kilo sprint. The problem is, Matt Gilmore weighs about as much as my right leg. Don't weigh very much at all. That means that his ultimate power is not going to be a match for somebody like Dale or Williams. It's not going to be a match for somebody like Gareth Mason. The other big question is, has this man, a certain Mr. Gareth Mason, also known as G for Ghost rather than for Gareth, got a Ghost in his arsenal? He's used it to good effect before. And it's going to be a rider that they're all going to be watching on the way through for it. Russ is still nicely in the mix as well. So going to be very interesting as they roll in. They've got plenty of time. 31 seconds on Kieran, 37 on Osman's group at the moment. Plenty of distance between them. Let's see who has got the pace and power. Who's your money on today? Dale Williams has been relatively quiet today. Question is, has Dale got the pace to take this out? Remember, when we hit the marker, it's 500 metres to go. And at the moment, I think Mr. Oliver does not want to leave this down to a sprint here, because Phil Oliver just opening up the gap, takes that right-hand turn here. So Phil Oliver in danger of leading this out. And oh, look at that sneaky move there. Gilmore just reappears. Gilmore had put in a serious move. He'd got the ghost. He did a Mason on everybody. He basically hit the ghost button, sprinted out of the group. Matt Gilmore's gone early to get the gap. Russie's trying to respond to this, but Matt Gilmore has got himself a 4-second gap on Downing, 7 to Oxenham. And are we going to see young Matt Gilmore take this out? He's got a nice little lead here, and I think he's out-ghosted the ghost here. He has certainly gone for it. This man is no Casper. This is a full Monty scary vision of nastiness when it comes. The man in black has done it because he's got that gap now. Can he hold on? This is going to be tough. He's got the big guns firing behind. Lindley is coming at pace. Downing is coming at pace as Gilmore got another kick left in him. He's at 5 watts per kilo. Here comes Lindley. Are we going to see anything? Has Gilmore got anything left? Lindley's going to come over the top of him. I don't think there's anything left from Gilmore. And look at Booker go. Where's did Booker come from? He's saying something for the end. Booker's going to take this. It's Booker from Williams, from Jones, from Lindley, Nelson, Jeffries, Oxenham. It's going to be Gilmore just coming through behind them. Then A.D. Dench, followed by Mason, who was out-coasted today. Russ comes in. He's going to be 11th place today. It's going to be a 12th place for Oliver, who led that out. What a fantastic run into the finish. Amazing stuff today. Behind these riders, you can see Foden with a little bit of a gap here, but another rider who's going to have to watch out behind him. Great Booker, what a sprint there to go through and take that. Absolutely class on wheels. Greg, again, taking the sprint win. And we've got a feel for Matt Gilmore. He put in the kick. He went clear. He couldn't hold them off. He gave them absolutely everything and just got rolled. Is Foden going to be able to stop that from happening? He can. It's Foden, then it's Douglas, then Neil from Gritty, Barker, Osman, Nunn, Donahoe, Sharp, Gale, Harmer, Hutch goes through. Claire Richardson's going to be our first female rider through for the Aeonian squad, so well done to Claire. Jimmy Allen on his way in to the line. Just going to keep a check here on the riders who've actually got through the line. Jimmy Allen goes through. Good ride in there by Jimmy. As our next rider over the line is going to be Kuslux, so well done to Kuslux. Then it is going to be Davison. So Davison's going to hit the line. Then Kieran Brown, well, brave attack moment going clear. It was a long way out to go, but Kieran is not in there. Let's see how Kieran's legs are after this. He's definitely had a good workout going up on the top of the climb. So well done, Kieran. Good ride. Now let's take a little bit of a check back to the group behind. This is a group with Tracy Seeley in here. So this is going to be the Kerry group here. So Neil Kerry along with Tim Baggs, Nick McDermott and Tracy Seeley for sprint here. And Tracy, I think, going to be the second of our female riders into the line this time. We're going to check on the way through. Let's see. Kieran says he's got to give it a go. He gave it absolutely a go and some more now. Who's going to take this out? Is Seeley prepared to risk those legs before tomorrow? Looks like she is. She's going to go for this 9 watts per kilo I've just seen from the Terminator as she kicks in to the finish here. So it looks to me like Tracy's going to take this out. Tim Bagsley, he's giving it everything to the line. He almost gets a, whether the line doesn't happen, then it's going to be Kerry McDermott coming through behind. Ratcliffe is ahead of Gale, Main, Glyn, Malin and co. So our next rider coming up to the line is going to be Mikey Ratcliffe from Clancy Briggs. So well done, Mikey. Another good ride by Mikey. Again coming through. And got a gap on this group. It's going to be Main. I think John Gale going to be pushing surely to the line. So Gale is going to go in over the line, followed by Main and Glyn behind. It's going to be a sprint between Taylor here and Forrester. Forrester's going to get it from Taylor. Then Malin, who really puts a big kick in Then it's going to be Westwood who comes in to the line. So good ride by Westwood. Wallace is going to be ahead, I think. So Wallace just ahead of the duo of Wimble and Fulton behind. Tracy yes, you did just win a sprint. So a Wimble going to push for that line just ahead of Dave Fulton. Fulton's going to try and roll him. It's going to be close. Oh, little kick back there. Rob saw that on its way. Next up, Izzy Torrey looking to take up John Garfoot. Garfoot is not a man to give in easily here, but I think Izzy Torrey is going to take this out. The Aeonian rider comes through, so it's going to be Aeonian 1 and 3 on the way through. Sarah Luthwaite holding those wheels in to the end as well. Good ride by Sarah. And in really good company all the way to the line there. Davis also coming in and through. Just going to take a little bit of a drop back here to our next riders on the way into the line. It's going to be Neil Morn and I think Rab with him as well. So Neil and Rab are going to be our next two riders. Remember that finish line underneath the arch today. So as they go in and through, it's going to be Neil followed by Rab. Behind it's going to be Gerd and our red beacon for Thursday. That is going to be Chris Ball. Chris, I'm sure you've got a red kit to match that red Pinarello Dogma. As just seeing Chris push on, he knows where that finishing line is as he makes his way in. One of our key members of the DC gang. Good to see Chris heading in. The Donny Chaingang regular goes in and through. Well done to Chris. And then it's going to be Gear behind. And then it's going to be Wallace, followed by Steve Cannon. Steve Cannon ahead of Sir Rodney by 5 seconds. Should be enough at this stage. Running in to our finish. A little bit of a kick from Steve just to ensure he stays clear. So great riding by Steve as he goes over the line. Just that run to the blue banner to warm down. So Rodney's going to be our next rider making his way in. So Sir Rodney with a very nice tash. Not so sure about the hairstyle. And it's going to be Chris Canham. He's just about to hit that 500 metres to go line. Who has a little bit of a gap to our red beacon. And Claire Jessup. Claire engaging that draft in there. So Claire just looking to get a little bit of a slingshot in. I'm not sure he's going to close down on Chris Cannon. Chris, one of our big sprinters here. Our red beacon doing a great job getting with Claire there on the way into the line. We're going to follow Chris into the line along with Claire and Co. So Claire, Simon and Chris on the way through to the line. Chris is going to be our next finisher here on the Donny Chaingang on Tuesday. The anti-penultimate one prior to December the 25th. And, of course, it is the one immediately before the solstice, the winter solstice. Next up is Claire Jessup. Claire coming in and through the line. Good riding again today, Claire. Hope to see you tomorrow on the winter solstice ride. It's going to be a WOW DCG. And thank you very much to Simon Runnett. Simon, another superb day as our beacon. So as our riders make the way in and through, going to say a massive thank you to all of the team. We're going to move some screens back just to make my life a little bit easier. Not the easiest thing in the world to do, and doing all sorts of jumpy stuff. We've got to do a little bit of monitor moving, but quick thank yous. Thank you very much to Simon. Thank you, of course, to Russ as our yellow, to Simon as our red beacon. Thank you to everybody who's ridden. Without you guys, it just wouldn't be the same. Don't forget, of course, support the people who support the Chaingang. They're up there on the top of your screen. They've been across the base all the way through. And don't forget, of course, that we have our WOW DCG tomorrow. You can watch that on the Daring Cycling YouTube channel, the Full Speed Events YouTube channel. And, of course, you can watch it on the Facebook page for the Donny Chaingang. Make sure you give Russ a follow on social media. Follow Emma, our head honcho of all things WOW DCG at Biking. And you follow me, it's at Matt Fix Spain. And make sure you give the guys over there, that's us. Can't even get the right point. That direction. There we go. Full speed events. You can tell it's been a long, long day. And probably too much fiberglass dust and sawdust clogging up the old brain cells. So from me, Matt Payne, from Russ, from everybody on the Chaingang, from all of our key supporters. Stay safe. We will see you tomorrow, hopefully, if you will come and join us. We're going to be broadcasting the WoW DCG. Yet more Donny Chaingang goodness from me, Matt Payne. Stay safe. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.